Hello and welcome to the Ultra Drive podcast, where we dive into the world of ultra sports. From endurance challenges to epic adventures, we cover everything that pushes human limits. Get ready for thrilling stories, expert insights, and all things ultra. Today, we have a new guest again. He's called Andy Deweirt. So I'm really curious for his story. How about you, Aaron?
Yeah, me too. So, look forward to another podcast. I must say we're on a roll the last weeks. It's
Yeah.
the third podcast in the last 4 weeks. So, but yeah, the more the better.
That's how I like it. So I not really met, but a little bit last October in the long race home, the ultra cycling event we both did. But we start at the beginning. So Andy, who were you as a little kid? Who was little Andy? How did you start doing sports? How did you discover sports?
Yeah, it's I'm currently 42, so it's been a while since but I've always done sports when I was young. I started with swimming, I think from the age of 6 till I think 12-ish, more or less. And then I switched to volleyball, I think till the age of 16, 17. And then, well, since volleyball isn't really a popular sport in Belgium, we didn't have enough team members anymore, so the club had to quit. So then I switched to soccer, as most Belgians do. But starting soccer at the age of 17 is kind of late, so I wasn't the best player on the team, and I didn't like it too much. So I think I only did that for 2 or 3 years, and after that it was I did mountain biking, but in a local club. Joined a mountain biking team. Did some mountain biking. That was when I went to university college. Then I also started running because I only did the mountain biking in the weekend, and during the week but I still remember when I started running, there was like what a lot of people do is like decide to go running, go way too hard, be exhausted, and think, oh, I don't like this. I'm not going to do this anymore. So I've started running a couple of times, and after a while, I realized that I shouldn't go all out, and if I take it easy in the beginning, then I go running more often, and I can stick to it, and so the hobby lasts.
I'm gonna pause here. Mm-hmm. So you started with swimming.
Yeah.
How did you decide to start with swimming? Because it's not a very popular sport in Belgium.
I think it was my parents, my dad went swimming a lot, and not as a competitive, because my dad was also a competitive volleyball player, and that's how I ended up in volleyball. But I think he went swimming a lot with my uncle, and then I joined as well. And so, he probably tried to teach me, and then maybe he thought that maybe you should join a club. They will be able to teach you swimming technique better than I can. So.
Okay. Did you train also like for the 20, 30 hours a week? I hear a lot of stories about this swimming competition.
No. I wasn't really competitive. I didn't like the competition. I liked the trainings, but I didn't like the competition, and it was really just learning the techniques. And I had to I actually don't have a lot of good memories about swimming because I wasn't a really good swimmer, so I had to whenever we had competitions, I was not allowed. I didn't do the front the crawl or the breaststroke. It was a back crawl that I had to do in competition, and I really hated that discipline. So that's kind of why I think I quit swimming, because of the competition I had to do in the back crawl, and I didn't like that. No.
Then you started with volleyball, and was it a dream to become a professional volleyball player?
Well, since I'm only 1 meter 70, that was kind of hard to become. Like, I was also always the guy that they call it the passeur, the guy that switches places and is in the middle and gives the pass to the ones that do the that finish the ball off to the smashing. But yeah, well, I think I dreamt about it, but I also realized that my size wasn't really in favor of it.
Yeah, that's always a pity that you can't become, for example, right now a volleyball player because your size.
Yeah.
I still remember I was a goalkeeper at a very young age, but I'm also 1 meter 70, so I was very good at goalkeeping when I was 7 or 8 years old. But I also quickly realized, okay, my parents are both, my father is 175 and my mother is 160, so it's impossible to become like Thibaut Courtois, for example, 2 meters and one.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a
Absolutely.
shame that you can't reach your goals because of your size.
Yeah. Well, yeah, in volleyball and basketball it's size, but in other sports it's other genes that are important to be able to make it to the top of the field. Yeah.
So then you started playing soccer. Was it because all the mates, all the friends from school were playing soccer?
Yeah. All my friends played soccer, and it was kind of funny because of the volleyball, I was able to jump high, like people that were like 10, 20 centimeters taller than me. I was able to jump higher than them, but yeah, I didn't have the finishing power. So and because of the jumping power, I was also really fast. So they put me in the front and they just kicked balls over the defense, and I just ran for the for the ball, but I couldn't finish because I lacked the experience of a.
So it was more the social part that was important for you.
Yeah, I remember the last year I played soccer. I think every team enjoyed playing against us. We were always losing by sometimes double digits, and it was just fun times.
I can imagine. So after the game, it was a lot of fun.
Some team play it already had fun before the game, and they came to the game pretty drunk or hungover. But it was fun.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That's a local football team. Every local football team here in Belgium has the same tradition.
Yeah.
Before the game, one beer or maybe more than one beer, and after the game, a
lot of beers.
A lot of beers.
Yeah, we had that in the mountain bike club as well. There were also people like I think it was around 8:30 that we met at a local bar. And there were guys ordering beers like in the beginning, drinking a laugh, and come on, let's go.
Some people are crazy.
It's a mindset.
I don't think I would be able to do it, but
last 3 weeks ago, I work with B-Post. So I started at night. It was at 3:00 at night. And also one guy, okay, it's weekend, I'm gonna drink one. It was 3:00. I said, man, you're crazy.
Yeah. Well, some people can handle a lot of beer. I can't.
It's to get warm, maybe.
Yeah.
And then after soccer, what did you do then?
Then was the mountain bike club and some running on and off, and I think it was probably around the age of 19, 20 that on a bet for a crate of Duvel that some friends said, hey, let's do the 20 kilometers of Paris.
Yeah.
and whoever doesn't finish has to give the other one a crate of duvel. So that's when I started running a lot more, and since then I've always been running. Um, yeah, yeah, I've always ran, and it was only when I started struggling with some recurring knee injury that I had to slow down, and when I went to the doctor, she said, "Yeah, maybe you shouldn't run that much anymore. Maybe you should switch, just do some swimming, do some bike riding instead of running." And then in my mind, that was like swimming, bike riding, running. Let's do triathlon. So then I started doing triathlon. I've been doing that for the last almost 10 years now.
And how many duvels did you win?
We both finished, so we didn't have to. Nobody had to pay anymore.
Okay, but it's funny. It's also always the social motivation that comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I've always needed that, like a goal to. There's some people that can just go running and they don't need a goal. They just go out and have fun, and usually I lose interest, and I don't go that I don't do sports that often then anymore. But if I have a goal, I'm working towards something that motivates me to do the trainings that I have to do or want to do.
You said you start running a lot more. How many kilometers did you run back then and in a week? Do you still remember?
No, but I didn't do any marathon running. It was only up to 20 or 21K that I did.
Okay.
I didn't do really long distance then. I think my second marathon that I ever ran was in my first full distance triathlon that I did.
Okay.
So back then I didn't like the long distance things yet. But somehow it changed.
What made it change?
I don't know. I think it was after the second full distance triathlon that I did that I felt like, okay, I gave it. It feels like I gave it everything that I had in my body, that my muscles were able to handle, but somehow in my head it felt like, if my muscles wouldn't give up, then I wouldn't be able to go further, and that was kind of a trigger to to explore longer distances, and I think it was again a goal for a friend that organizes an event, a charity event for to raise money for a disease called mucoviscidiosis. Because that friend organizes it, he said, maybe you should join us. You like bike riding? It's one day, it's 300K, and we do it in a group ride, and that's how I felt the first time I did that. Okay, it was in a big group. I think it was a peloton of 60 riders, so you're able to hide a lot during the whole day. But still, when I finished, I felt like, okay, I think with the same group, not by myself, I would be able to do it again. So that's when the idea came in my head to think about even longer distances and explore the idea of going further and longer, and in both running and cycling.
And was it also a case of pushing yourself as a human, pushing your limits further and further?
Yeah, in the beginning it was like with a lot of people, now in society, like to not really to show off, but kind of to get validation for what you're doing, and yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't really call it validation, but yeah, somehow it's still validation by the people around you that you're doing something great or whatever. But that kind of changed the last couple of years because I'm kind of convinced that if you want to do ultra distances and really long distances, if you're purely doing it for external validation, I'm not sure if that is enough motivation to go through a really long
Nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, indeed. It's something that Bettina, one of our guests, told us about as well. She's a German coach, and she was cycling a lot as well. And she did the Tour de France. But the day before the males, the real Tour de France, the females did it as well, and the women. And she also said, why was I doing that? Because you are in like a bubble of people that are pushing you, and you have that acceptance, that validation of these people. And she was seen like a machine. Bettina was like a machine.
Yeah.
So she will be able to do it. But after a while, she said, am I still doing this for myself?
Yeah.
And then she even quit a moment to restart again, but with another motivation. So it's really interesting what you say. And also neurologically, we can actually explain it, because when we are doing a bike race, it's going fast. There's a bunch, there's adrenaline. You have a lot of dopamine as well. So it gives a nice sensation. But if you're doing long distances, you don't have that adrenaline. You don't really have the dopamine either. So you go for the serotonin, and it's different. And in our society, we really like dopamine, the social media, everything, social contacts, sugar. But if you have to do something for a long distance or for a long time, then you need another motivation.
Yeah.
And actually, it's what makes you happy, actually. So it's
Yeah.
really interesting what you said.
Yeah. And for me, it's partly also the curiosity of what you said, that like your own boundaries. Whenever I start something longer, it's really out of curiosity. Will I be able to do this? Will this be the limit, or will I be able to push even further? Or but not to show off or something, but just out of curiosity. And yeah, during those, like in the long race home, the mental aspect during that race is, I find that so fascinating. I've had always I had the same thing when I ran the Dodentocht, the moment just before sun rises. That's so hard to go through, and yeah, you're thinking about quitting, and you don't want to be there anymore, and all of a sudden when the sun comes up, it's like you find new energy, and it's that feeling is so amazing, and you can't really describe it to somebody that hasn't gone through that.
No, indeed. But let's go back to the start of the triathlon career. How old were you then?
Must be my young 30s, I think. Yeah, was, I think in 2015 I did my first triathlon. Yeah.
Did you start with Olympic distance? Or?
Yeah, it was the one in Oudenaarde, Olympic distance. Yeah, it was a
triathlon of Flanders.
Yeah. I really liked it. It was a tough one because the bike course is really pretty hilly, given the surroundings there. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and been hooked to it ever since, because I've switched hobbies quite a lot, because usually whenever I do something, like in the beginning, you have like a huge learning curve, and you feel, if I put in this much effort, I grow, I go faster, I become better. And there's always like a moment where you reach a plateau where you have to do a lot more to become even better. And most of the time, whenever I reach that plateau is usually when I lose interest in the hobby. I've done some rock climbing as well in the past, and I had that same issue in the beginning. That you like can do the easy courses, and when you train a lot, you can do the more difficult ones. And then at a certain level, you reach a plateau, and you know that okay, now I have to put in a lot of effort, do some extra training to become even better, and that's usually when I lose interest. And somehow in triathlon, I haven't had that same experience. I'm currently at a level where I feel like okay, I can maintain this level. Okay, if I train a little bit more, I can become a little bit better. If I train less, then it goes down again. But I'm kind of on a level that stays more or less the same, and I'm kind of happy with it now.
Yeah.
So curious if I'm.
Is it because you varies a lot your trainings because you're running, swimming, cycling?
Yeah, might be. I've always thought it was maybe my age, becoming a bit older, not always wanting to do like chasing the better, faster dream anymore, and just being happy with what I have and enjoying the thing that I have now. And it's an amazing club where I'm in. That's really some good friendships there, and
That helps
that helps.
also.
Yeah.
It helps.
Mhm.
It helps.
The club of Kortrijk?
Kortrijk, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of events with the whole team, and every Thursday we have beers after the swim training, and it sometimes it ends in pubs in Kortrijk as well, really late at night after midnight. So so that's the kind of friendship that we have in on the trainings. I don't think I've ever had that in other clubs before.
But it's something really important. It's
Yeah.
Also you're laughing, but you're also setting goals. I will do this. I will come, and then you're drunk a little bit. I will come, and then before you know, you started a challenge.
Yeah. And it's always the same thing. Like 2 or 3 guys are going to a specific event, and they're saying, "Oh, come on, you have to join as well. Join us," and you join as well, and others join, and it's fun.
That's actually how I met triathlon as well. I studied in Paris, and there was an international triathlon club over there.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. We had a track session, so running around the track. Afterwards, we went to the bar. Sometimes you went to the track just to go to the bar afterwards. But you meet a lot of people, and it's fun, and you're doing sports without knowing you're doing sports.
Yeah.
And I moved to the Netherlands then. I said, okay, I'm gonna do triathlon. It wasn't the same. They never went to the bar. It was it was serious. You had to do a test before to enter. It was
Typical Dutch people.
Yeah. And then another triathlon club in France. They say they are a familial club, but actually they are not coming together. Yeah.
So if you want that back, you can join us.
Kortrijk. Yeah.
Well, actually, I think there's a limit now because the club is full, and like usually mostly for swimming, there's a lot of people in the pool. And,
indeed.
Yeah, but it's a big club. Huh?
Yeah, I think we have 120 members.
Okay.
Well, there's running as well and duathlon, so most of the members are triathletes.
Okay. At what hour do you swim then? Because triathlon clubs, they swim.
Yeah, it's 8:30 or 8:45. Yeah.
So we have to be motivated during winter to go out.
So on Tuesday we don't do drinking after the training, and that's usually when I struggle to get out of my couch. Yeah, when I finish work, I eat something, and then if you only have training at 8:30, there's usually some time to go and sit on a couch. And whenever I go and sit on my couch, I sometimes struggle to get out of it to go to training. Yeah. On Thursday, it happens more often because of the social event afterwards.
Turks.
And how are you doing in terms of recovery after such late sessions? Because I can imagine it's harder to.
to fall asleep.
It's a fact.
I usually struggle a bit on Friday then to be motivated or active or it's like the last couple of years I found rest really important. There was a post on social media recently. I think it was from John Heymans, the 5K runner, that he said, people are always talking about ice baths and massage guns, and those are like the marginal gains for recovery. The most important part is sleep, and if you don't get sleep right, don't bother with all the special things for recovery to aid recovery. Sleep is the most important one, and I try to focus on having enough sleep and going to bed in time.
Yeah, indeed, because last I also heard a conversation between two professional cycling coaches, it was, and they said, as an advice for the young riders, don't start with taking supplements, just focus that you're doing the basics right.
No.
Okay, so indeed, enough sleep, enough food, do your trainings well, but don't bother about a better bike or better wheels. So these are indeed marginal gains, but start with doing the basics right.
Yeah, it's so important.
A lot of people don't get that. They think, okay, I need to take supplements and I have a bike of, let's say, 20,000 euros. These days it's normal. But they're not doing their training right. That's a big thing to people, that they need to know that to do the basics right.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just easier to buy a box of pills and take a pill than to go to bed in time and sometimes miss out on a fun party or
And then after the Olympic distance, a half Ironman or
I think I did some half Ironmans, half distances. I don't remember exactly. It was I think half distance was probably after I did triathlon for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, I guess. And then because I found that the half triathlon distance was manageable to do with just training when I felt like training and doing whatever I wanted to do. I felt like if I ever wanted to attempt a full distance triathlon, I really needed structured training and a good plan to build up to the event. And with up till half distance, I felt like, okay, I won't be the best prepared at the start, but I don't want to be the best prepared possible. I just want to finish it, and it doesn't matter too much how much time I take to finish it.
And the full distance, did you take a trainer then to train more structured, or?
The first year I did, yeah. But was it the second year? No, it was the first year. The first year I had somebody that made a training plan for me, but I felt like I was losing. I didn't like the training anymore. Usually I like the training, even doing it by myself. I just enjoy being outside, running, biking, and the swimming part was not always enjoyable, but but I felt that I lost interest in, and the trainings started feeling like stopped feeling like something I wanted to do, and they started feeling like something I have to do. And whenever I feel I have to do things, that's like in my head, like something snaps, and I'm thinking like, no, I don't want to do this. If I have to do something, no, I started losing a little bit interest in triathlon, and I stopped with the coach and took training a bit easier, and it just came back, the enjoyment of doing the trainings.
Why did you lose the interest while working with a coach? Was it just because he said what you needed to do? Or training
it was
too much, maybe?
It wasn't really training too much. It was more like he made his training plan, and yeah, I had 2 kids. I was still married. Sometimes I didn't have the time to do the training that was in my planning, and I felt like sorry that I didn't do it, because he made the effort to make a training plan for me, and I didn't do the training. And sometimes it was also, okay, I have to do this long training. My wife back then didn't always like me being away a lot, so it was some stress as well. So, okay, I have to do this training. How can I explain that I'll be out again for 4 hours on a bike ride, and I have to miss out on some family time? And that was it was more. It wasn't really the amount of time that I had to train. It was more the stress of fitting that training in my daily life. And it was only after I got divorced that I did my full distance triathlon, because then I felt like, okay, now I don't have any obligations anymore to, okay, still have every other week my kids that are, but I can plan around that. Okay, the week that my kids are with me, I don't have a lot of time to train, and I do lunch sessions and evening rides on indoor trainer. And then the week that I don't have my kids, I can do whatever I want. If I want to ride all night, and I ride all night.
Then the full distance, how did that go? Was it Maastricht, you said?
Yeah, Maastricht was the first one. It went okay. The swim went really good. I had a good swimming time, I remember. The bike riding was still. Bike riding has always been like my weaker thing. If I compare my swimming with my swimming, my bike riding, and my running, I always lose a lot of places on the bike ride. And it's kind of hilly as well there in Maastricht. I thought, Holland, it will be flat. And then somebody said, hey, Maastricht, that's the same environment as
The Ardennes.
The Ardennes and the Amstel Gold Race. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, crap. And then the running was hard. Oh yeah. Oh, I almost forgot that was a really tough one. Yeah. After 20K, I really felt like I didn't want to run anymore, and I was I was so tired. I just wanted to stop, but I kept running, and I think it was 4 rounds of 10K, and the last round, I kind of got into a zone where I didn't remember a lot of the things that I saw, but I always kept running, and I got into a zone. It was like I switched off my brain, or part of my brain, and it felt like I wasn't present in my body anymore or something. Because when I passed the finish line, there were 3 mates that came to cheer. My parents were there, my kids were there. I didn't see anybody. There was one mate, because he was really hanging outside of the crowd with his hand out, that I saw him, and I remember I slapped his hand, but it felt so surreal. And I think it took almost 2 days before I actually realized that I finished the event. I remember the event was on Sunday, and I think it was on Tuesday when a colleague was asking me, hey, how did the event go? Because he was also a triathlete. And I felt I don't know. I felt tears coming up, and I was like, oh my god, I did it. And so sorry, it's such a strange feeling. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Okay. And I think that was maybe the feeling that I got during that run, that was somehow scary, but somehow like interesting, appealing. Like that's a different, like a special mindset to be in. And I think I've been since trying to find that same mindset again, or
want to experience that zone again.
Yeah. And on the long race home, I had a similar thing. It was after 200k that I was already fed up with it, and I kind of got into that zone as well. I did it as a duo there. So my mates, he's a better cyclist than I am. So lucky enough, I was able to ride his wheel a lot. But I really felt like I was just not thinking anymore. I was just in his wheel, just pushing the pedals and trying to keep up. And it was an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's really interesting because every guest we had on this podcast says this thing about
Okay.
I was dead, I couldn't do anymore, but I still reached the finish line, and everyone said it. And that's so interesting because once again, that's the proof that we can do so much more with our body than we expect or think.
Yeah. Well, I usually think about a mate that is in the special forces, and they also train that same mindset. They know that, okay, if your body tells you, okay, this is enough, there's so much safeguards in your body to not kill yourself that it's really, there's a lot of margin between your body that says this is enough and the limit that really is enough. So there they really train to push that limit or go through that barrier and push a little bit further. So I think it's probably within that zone that you get when you're in that mental state of
it's almost a thing of like training your brain.
Yeah,
because our brain always chooses the easiest way. Okay, quit. For example, when you can choose between going with your bike, let's say to work, or with your car, your brain says go with your car.
Yeah,
it's more comfortable, warmer. But bike, it's more healthier, it's more fun. But maybe you need to ride through the rain, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a state of training your mind and be in the right mindset.
Yeah.
It's even new discipline in sports. I recently found a professor that is specializing in endurance brain training.
Okay.
That was a little bit chaotic, the website, but still open on my smartphone, so I really want to try it out. But they say scientifically that you can win a lot of percentages with training your brain. So there's something to go there.
And there's some exercises that you can do then?
There are exercises. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm curious.
Do you have examples of exercises?
I couldn't find a book either. I had the name of the guy. I found him on a podcast. So if I know more, I'll let you guys know.
It's interesting.
It's interesting. It's a lot of people are discovering the brain. And I'm a chiropractor, so we use a lot of brain regions to stimulate the body. So actually, for me, it's really interesting to see how science now is developing this side of human performance.
Yeah.
So we see.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, indeed. What was your time, the first Ironman?
I think I did it in 12 hours and a half, but I had 2 flat tires. I forgot that as well. I was during the bike ride, there was like a descent. It was a really steep one, so I was going 60, 70 maybe, and there was like a pothole, and I went through the pothole, and I felt like my front tire was flat. So at 60, it was like my bike was kind of getting sketchy. I braked as slowly as possible, not to start skidding or something. And I stopped. I was like, oh, come on, do I really have to change my tire now? But okay, changing my tire. Okay, it was changed. Wanted to start again. Hop on my bike, and then I see that my back tire is also flat. And I was like, oh crap! And I only had 1 spare tire.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, damn, yeah, my race is over, because in triathlon you're not allowed to get external help. So I started. I had seen that there was an ambulance down at the downside of the hill, because there was a steep hill and then a sharp 90-degree turn. So I think it was a strategic ambulance there. So I walked over to ask those guys, hey, can you phone somebody to come and pick me up? There's always a car riding around the parcours to pick up guys that have technical issues with their bikes. I was waiting, and all of a sudden somebody stops at the ambulance because he had a headache and asked for an aspirin or something, which they weren't allowed to give. I didn't know that that they weren't allowed to, like, even just something for a headache they weren't allowed to give. But anyhow, I was like, okay, this guy, I saw like 3 tires on the back of his bike. I was like, can you spare me a tire? Yeah, sure. Here, you have one. And then I switched. I changed my back tire. I think it took like probably 40 minutes to change the 2 tires, and then I was off again. I still had to do, I think, 30 kilometers of the bike ride, and then I had to still do the running. But my brother was there as well to support, but since my tire was flat, and I thought my race was over. I don't have any communication with my family, but they saw that my timer stopped changing on the parcours, so they kind of knew that it was over, that it was finished. So they assumed that I was going to give up, and all of a sudden my timer was moving again, but they were already on their way back home, and yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the first 12-hour endurance challenge you did.
Yeah.
And then the second one was how
Yeah, the second one, I did similar amount of training. That was in Frankfurt, and I had a similar time. I think I was 12 hours and 20 minutes or something. I don't remember it exactly, but there I only had one goal, like finish the event, and like being present in the moment, not experiencing the same thing I had in the previous event. And I really crossed the finish line, realizing I was doing it, and I really enjoyed that event. And that was one of those races where there were, I think we were with 7 or 8 from the same club that finished the same event. So they were all faster than me, so they were already there. Some of them still cheering. It was a fun event.
And did you enjoy it more than going all out? Looking back on it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I felt like I realized more that I was doing it, so yeah, I enjoyed it more, and I have better memories of that event than I had of the first event. But still, after finishing that one, I was like, okay, I've done this twice now. I have to put in a lot of effort to prepare for this kind of event, so it's I'm not going to do this anymore for now. And then, we got into ultra running and ultra cycling. So, I think I probably do even more training now than I did for those events.
How much time is in between the Ironman, so the full distance triathlons, and now and ultra cycling and ultra running?
Last year I did Ironman Frankfurt.
Okay.
So, and this year I did the long race home.
Yeah.
And then the funny thing is, I did that. I think I registered. Was it on my way to the Dodentocht, or just after, or it was my coworker, my teammate that I did the long race home with. I said, "Hey, we have to register now because the deadline is coming," and I already had made up my mind that I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm fed up with this long distance thing. I was like, okay, it's with Stan. It's a good guy, and like, okay, spending a whole night and a day with him on a bike will be fun. Okay, let's do it.
Was it fun?
We'll figure it out. Yeah, I enjoyed the long race home more than I did the running the Dodentocht. Yeah, the Dodentocht was worth his name. Yeah, it was. I think at 70k, whenever I stopped at an aid station, when I had to start running again, the first I think 2, 3, 4 minutes were really painful because my hip flexors were like really stiff and sore, and they were just, it was really painful, and I knew if I continue running, they will loosen up, and then it goes away again. But it was some aid stations, because it was a walking event. There were a lot of aid stations, so some aid stations I still had enough water to just run through. But that's some aid stations. I had to fill up my water again, and whenever I had to do that, it was so painful. And then it was like, okay, now I'm going to walk like 1k just to relax a bit, and then 1k is over. I have to start running again. Okay, let's try. Oh man, it hurts, and just thinking about, okay, it will just hurt for a couple of minutes, and then it will go away again, and just bite through the pain and start running again, and
Were you still able to enjoy it, or was it counting down the kilometers to the finish?
Yeah, somehow well, it was really counting down the kilometers. I think in my head, the last 10k probably lasted longer than the first 90k, so it's really counting down, but somehow it was still enjoyable because you realize the amount of kilometers you've already done, and you know, okay, this is the 10k run. If I do that at home, it's just going out, and for about an hour I'm back home, and it's fun. So I just had that in my mind. It's just a 10k run. It's like a training run at home, and just do it that last 10k, and but even the last few kilometers go so slowly. It's like looking at your watch. I only did 200 meters now. Don't look at your watch anymore. Don't look at your watch anymore. Only 500 meters. So they go really slow the last kilometers. But probably had the same thing at the long race home. The last kilometers. If you look at your Garmin or Wahoo or whatever.
It was horrible. It was actually the last 20k. It was really counting down.
And they had roadworks as well, where we had to do detours, and that was mentally so tough.
Yeah, indeed. It was a long detour. For me, it was a long detour. It was I cannot do it.
It was only like a few kilometers.
Yeah.
So in comparison to the 400k that you did, it's just peanuts, but still in your head, it's like every extra kilometer is.
And then afterwards, you get the picture of the guy who is still going through the road. So that, okay, maybe I should have done it as well.
I said to you, Jelle, afterwards when you showed me the picture of the guy walking over the roadworks, I said, you should go just through the roadworks.
It was difficult.
I didn't want to risk it. It looked like it was really closed off, and we didn't want to risk being, well, it was still a few kilometers that we had to ride before we reached the roadwork, so we just assumed, and there was one team that was really close to us, and I started the event with the idea of, I don't care if we're second or third or last, or second or third wouldn't be an option, but 10th or 20th or whatever. But my teammate was, oh, come on, let's stay in front of those guys. I'm like, no, please, no, come on, let's push. I was riding 32 kilometers an hour, and I was in his wheel, like, suffering, and I think he also didn't want to risk doing the extra kilometers and then being catched up by the other team. So
And how much time did you take for the long race home?
I think it was if I remember correct, 16 hours and 15 minutes of riding, and I think it was about 19 hours in total, with stops included.
Yeah. So you stopped quite a lot then?
Yeah, we had to, and then definitely in the morning, I was so tired. I felt I had aero bars on my bike, and I felt like I was nodding off, and I had split seconds of where I was sleeping, and it was like, okay, this isn't safe anymore. It was in the beginning of the morning. It was in Holland, so the bakeries apparently are open really late there.
Yeah.
We had hoped around 7-ish we'll find a bakery that's open. No, most bakeries are only open at 8:30 or 9 or something. But we found a gas station that was open. They had coffee. I had a breakfast that I would never have. Was it a Red Bull with with a chocolate bun or something? Really, and then some and an espresso, and I think the Red Bull, the espresso really helped, and was like,
I really had to search for bakeries as well. On Google Maps, where's a bakery? Where is it open?
Yeah, most of them were open really late, and
indeed.
We were lucky to find a gas station that was open. They didn't have a lot of stuff yet, because when we arrived, two other one solo rider and one other team arrived after us, and we had my friend bought 3 chocolate buns, I bought 3, and then they were out. So those guys were like, "Oh yeah, for us as well a chocolate bun." Oh, sorry, we're out. Oh, sorry, guys.
So it was a tactical decision.
Yeah.
But the bakery where I went, they didn't even have chocolate buns.
Oh, okay.
So they all had like pastry with a lot of cream on it.
Oof.
They couldn't take it with me on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to take bread, but just eating bread, dry bread, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Then I find Aldi. I took chocolate buns over there. I couldn't even eat them.
Mm-hmm.
It was horrible. Didn't have any taste. Or maybe it was me, I don't know, but I really had to throw them in the bin.
Yeah.
It was
Well, on those kind of events, I really don't think about taste. Like Red Bull, I usually don't like the taste, but it's just like eating and drinking, it becomes functional.
Yeah.
I have that in bikepacking as well. I always take like those dried meals. People are saying, that's disgusting. How can you eat? There's a lot of restaurants, but eating just becomes functional, and I use calories, so I need to fill up those calories. And
it is functional, because I counted it, like every watt you push per hour, you burn 4.33 kilocalories. So if you push like 200 watts per hour, that's already 800 kilocalories per hour. If you do it for 19 hours, it's impossible to replenish. And if you do the transcontinental race, it's impossible. I don't know how they do it, but it's impossible to eat all these kilocalories.
That's They say that in triathlon as well, you need to train your stomach as well to ingest the amount of calories that you need to be able to finish those kind of events.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
But then it's just 12 hours. If it's 2 or 3 days.
Even the long race home, as you said, you were 19 hours.
Yeah.
You needed 19 hours to complete the course, so...
Yeah, and you don't want to spend
7 hours plus
eating gels and gummy bears and for 19 hours. You want to eat something else as well. And
how did you find out about the long race home? Because
it was my friend that he's been into long distance events a bit longer than I am. It was him that said, "Hey, I found this event. Sounds like want to join as a team." Okay. No. We did.
And did you first go to Moncho or first to Spa?
We went to Moncho first,
I first went to Spa. I didn't even think about
Mo-
the other option. Yeah.
Most of the participants did think. I think
Yeah.
just probably 20% or so did it the other way around.
Yeah.
But Stain, the one that I did it with, he really likes building routes, and he spent a lot of time preparing it. And when you did Moncho first and then did Stokke and Spa, then you ended up doing small roads going up to Holland.
Yeah.
Because if you did it the other way around, you had to go through Aachen and some other Dutch Heerlen, or
it's possible.
a big city in Holland. And his idea was, okay, if you have to go through big cities in the middle of the night, there's crossings, there's traffic lights. You'll have to stop frequently, and it's better. Okay, maybe it was a little bit longer, just a few kilometers. It was small country roads where you can just have a steady pace, and his idea was that will be faster and easier as well, because stopping and starting again, if you have to do that a lot, it's tougher.
Yeah.
And how did he build his the road? Was it just looking on Google Maps, for example? Because you, Jelle, created just the course with Strava.
Well, he does it with Komoot. I build my routes with Komoot as well, and it has a Google Street View built in. So whenever you build your route, you can click on an icon, and then it opens Street View, and you can see, okay, this is this kind of road. Or
And do you remember how many altitude meters you had?
No.
Because I went through Aachen, and actually it was really cool to go through Aachen, because there was nobody there, but there were lights, so I couldn't fall asleep.
And
there were some people walking by,
Mm-hmm.
but for me I was really happy to see other people.
The idea of not being up alone.
Indeed. And then there were some street lights and the red lights. Nobody was there, so I just went through the red lights. And it isn't that big of a city, so it didn't take that much time for me.
Okay.
The Dutch cities, they were more difficult to go through, because you have the cycle paths you have to follow, and it was sometimes a little bit of a hassle to go through it. But Aachen, I was happy to see Aachen, actually.
And we had one gamble as well, that when you there were like 2 points. What was that again? I think it was the pannenkoeken thing.
And
they were close by. And then you had to go down to the mental institution, I think it was. And you either could go taking a bridge, and there was a pond as well that you could take. And we took the pond. We gambled it, and it was so far. We arrived with our bike, and we saw the pond just arriving. I think we waited like 1 minute, hopped on, crossed again, and we were off. And that's when that other team that was chasing us, they were really way ahead of us at the previous checkpoint, and we were way in front of them at the next checkpoint.
I was thinking about it as well, but I couldn't do it because of the pond. And if it's cold, if it rains.
We looked it up, and there was like no schedule. It's just whenever there's a car on one side, the pond goes to one side, and it's not really, it's on demand, and there's no fixed schedule. So we just risked it, and it turned out great.
It's a cool moment.
And we were so happy when we were riding towards the pond, and we saw like, oh, it's already coming, and it was fun.
And how are you combining it? Because you're running long distances and you're cycling long distances. How do you combine it?
The running is a bit less. I did a lot of cycle training, because I feel like if you cycle a lot, that also improves your running performance. The other way around, not so much. But I just before the Dodentocht, I think a month and a half before that, we had also a charity event where we rode from the Citadel de Namur to the top of the Stelvio. And then, those were a lot of training kilometers. And in 1 month and a half, I just did most cycling. I did no swimming in that in the period leading up to that event. I did some running just to maintain some running form, and but I did a lot of cycling. In a month and a half after the event, I just switched to only running, and I felt like, okay, my stamina is good. I can do this, and well, I wasn't too sure I was going to be able to run the 100k, but I felt like there was a good chance I would be able to do it. So usually, if I have to choose, I choose cycling over running because cycling aids two sports, while running only aids the running sports.
It's also cool because the doctor said you should run less.
Yeah.
Then you're running the Dodentocht.
But the knee injury has stopped. During the pandemic, I had a hernia. I was really completely blocked. We were doing some renovations. I worked a lot. I did some gardening, shoveling a lot, so I was bent over a lot. Then I had to carry a lot of heavy stuff for the renovation that we were doing. And one morning, I just couldn't turn anymore. My back was hurting so much. There was also a funny story. We were living in a house temporarily because our house was completely empty. That morning, I felt I couldn't move anymore. So I said I was still married then. I said to my wife, I should call a doctor, an ambulance. I can't move anymore. It's hurting so much. So the ambulance came. They helped me up, and they said, okay, we're going to try to go down and take you to the hospital to give you some strong painkillers. I passed out twice on my way to the out of the bedroom, and they were like, okay, no way we're going to carry you down the stairs, because if you pass out halfway the stairs, we don't want to risk that. We're going to call the fire department. They're going to come with a ladder wagon and get you out of the house with through the window. I was like, oh no, please no! What will the neighbors say? I still remember laying on the floor. I still did it. Yeah, the pain was okay. I was just a bit drowsy from the painkillers that they give me. I hear sirens coming, like the fire department blocked the whole road. They were parked in front of the house with the lamp, like all the neighbors were out, and I was like, oh come on. It's
Did you
just... No. Oh, no. And then I mentioned that because when I had the hernia, I started doing a lot of core training, strength training.
Yeah.
And since I've started doing the core and the strength training, my knee injury just disappeared. And that's when I knew core and strength training is important if you do a lot of sports. But then I felt like, okay. And whenever I skip my strength training a few weeks, I sometimes feel like my knee injury, like it's the patella tendon that starts hurting. Sometimes feel like it's slowly getting back. So, and then I know, okay, I have to do my core exercises again.
It's a nice message, because as a chiropractor, I see a lot of people with hernias, and they think, oh, my life is over now. I will have a hernia for the rest of my life.
Well, if you don't do anything, you will.
And you did an Ironman afterwards, and long distance running and cycling. So it's not the end of your life to have a hernia.
Yeah, it's just some imbalance in your muscles, and if you train the right muscles, then
then it's
okay. And it's still something that I sometimes feel if I don't do my strength training, it's I think it's L4, L5. I know that will start hurting, and sometimes if I do a lot of training, there was some radiation to the right side, and then I start to feel that as well. So I know if I do my strength and core training, and that's whenever somebody asks me for advice, hey, how many times do I have to run? I always say, just, you know what, run 2 or 3 times a week. And if you don't have the time, skip one run training and do core exercises. That's so important. If you do, you will have more gains if you just skip one run training and do core exercises instead.
Yeah, indeed, because I experienced, not the same, but during the pandemic, I didn't do anything of sports. I quitted cycling the year before. So it was warm, we had nothing to do. I said, okay, I'm going to start running again. But my muscles from cycling were completely gone. And I ran, let's say 3K, and I had so much pain in my knee and in my shin splints, and so much pain. And so I quit it again with running.
Yeah.
And then the year after, I started again with cycling. And in the summer, I said to myself, okay, I'm going to just a 5K run, and I had nothing of pain, nothing.
Yeah.
Just because my muscles were back to run again. And as you said, I feel also when I'm cycling a lot, I'm a better runner. But on the other side, it doesn't work. When I run more, I'm not a better cyclist.
Yeah. I find it strange that it doesn't go the other way around. There's probably some logic to it, but I don't see it.
Yeah, it's maybe I think it's on the bike you train more your stamina in a way, and that can help you more to maintain your speed during your run.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe like
all the professional cyclists, they start running now.
Yeah.
Maybe
there is some triathlons.
Yeah, indeed.
And also it's good for your body to run sometimes.
Yeah.
When I have a little bit pain in my back, for example, I'm going to do a run. It doesn't have to be long, 5K, and my back pain is over. I don't have any more pain in my back, so I use it as a painkiller.
Yeah.
And do you train for running technique as well?
No, I've never done that. I sometimes try to be conscious when I'm running about where I put my feet. If I try to be conscious about if I put my feet just under me and not in front of me, those kind of things. But no, I've never done a running technique because I think running is such a natural movement that your body probably adapts a little bit to the most efficient way you're able to run. It's probably not the most beautiful technique, but it gets me from A to B sometimes really fast.
That's the most important.
Everyone has a different style.
Yeah.
On the bike it's the same, and during running it's also everyone has their own style.
And then you decide to run 100 miles.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to. Not sure yet. But like past weekend, I ran a 90K trail on a Saturday and then a 21K trail on Sunday, and it was like just really easy pace, like the pace I want to run on. Maybe just it was a little bit faster. It was 6 minutes a kilometer, so it was really I think it was most of the time zone 1 effort, and it was on Saturday I felt like I finished and I felt like I could do it again, and on Sunday it was a bit more tiring, but still not completely wasted when I finished, and that really felt great. So I think I'll try to build up to not too big of a distance, because I've heard from was it? I think it was Karel Sabbe that said it once in an interview or something, that you don't necessarily need to run a lot of really long distances to improve, but sometimes it's better to just run a long distance on a specific day, and then the day after also a long distance, so you still have the fatigue from the day before, but your body was able to recover a little bit, and then you run with some fatigue as well, and yeah, that's the approach that I want to take. And yeah, some people have asked, are you going to take a trainer because it's something new? Yeah, I'm still scared about losing my my interest in the sport, so I really want to just try it on my own and yeah, wing it, as they say. And yeah,
It went well.
yeah,
Now, so
yeah. It till now I was able to do the 100K without well, I do have a train. I every weekend or every other weekend I go in training peaks and try to make some schedule about, okay, this week I want to do these trainings, but not too strict. And okay, if I'm not able to do a specific training, I don't mind, because okay, I switch it to another day, and that's how I hope to stay motivated. And,
Maybe you can try the new way of coaching. This week I heard that EMEC made a new system completely driven by AI. So yeah, they're gonna do it. And actually, it was also John 5K Heymans. He made his schedule, his training schedule, fully with AI, with ChatGPT. And he.
But did he do his training schedule? I thought he asked ChatGPT which events he had to participate to have the biggest chance of earning enough points to be qualified for the Olympics.
Yeah, but he also asked ChatGPT, how do I prepare myself for the marathon? And he had it completely scheduled by AI. And and it was Paul van den Bos who said, famous coach here in Belgium, who said, okay, AI is good, but you don't have the personal experience and thing with AI. He made the example of someone's grandparent that died, for example. Okay, AI doesn't know that, but as a personal coach, you can talk to the guy. Okay, how to cope with such a thing, and that's the difference between AI and working with a coach.
Yeah, I kind of follow his idea, but I think it mostly applies to guys beginning in sports. I think if you've been running and cycling a long time, you kind of get to know your body and you know what you're able to. And if I think I've asked ChatGPT also before to make a training schedule, and I was amazed about the accuracy or how plausible it looked. So I think if you kind of know what you're doing, have some experience, a ChatGPT generated planning could be good guidance.
AI is the future, and it only will get better.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I asked ChatGPT for a training schedule. It's actually quite good.
Yeah, it's strange because
it's strange because I'm a cycling coach.
Okay.
For tips.
Yeah. Well, I really, because from a technological perspective, I really find it amazing that it's so, pretty accurate, because it's only text prediction. It's a model that predicts which word should go after the previous word. So, it's amazing that it can be so accurate, just being a text prediction model.
It's good.
Yeah, and I think if your grandparent died, you can also ask ChatGPT how to have to cope with it with my trainings. But yeah, indeed, it's nicer to discuss with a real human.
Yeah, some people are more like that, but also, as you said, when you have a lot of experience in the sport that you're doing, okay, you should be able to do it alone. or with ChatGPT.
Yeah. Maybe ask ChatGPT to have like some rough plan and then fine tune it.
It's maybe strange to say, but I don't make my own schedule. I go day by day because I know I have the knowledge about cycling, and I say today I feel every morning, okay, how am I feeling? Okay, I feel a little bit tired from the training from yesterday. I'm going to do a little more recovery ride or not a hard session today.
Yeah.
So I go day by day, and I'll also do that with my cyclists that I coach. I ask them, okay, how are you feeling after every training, and then we make a different schedule. Every week.
Yeah, for myself, I kind of have the same approach as well. Okay, sometimes I try to make some plans. There's weeks that I don't make a planning training peaks, and then it's just okay. This morning I feel like going for a run. What did I do last couple of days? Okay, I didn't do a lot of them, so I'll do a hard session now. Okay, I did a lot of training before, so it will be an easy session. Just feeling your body in the morning and sensible.
Yeah, but it's also important to know how your body reacts to your training, and also to look back. Okay, am I not overtrained? Because when you don't have any motivation to train 4 weeks, for example, you need to think, okay, am I not overtrained? Because you should always be motivated to train, but when you're not motivated, you know there is something wrong in your body.
Yeah. I think the new sports watches do a good thing there. They like, I have Garmin, probably Polar has this similar thing. They're pretty accurate in saying, okay, you're doing good, you're training too much, and even like on the recovery phase, have like in a scale from 0 to 100. I think it's called training readiness.
And also with your body battery.
Body battery,
fine. Because sometimes I wake up, okay, I had a really good night. And then I look at my body battery, and it's only 60 or 70.
Yeah, and if you listen to that, then you might have some good guide. Okay, it's not always accurate.
But it helps. It helps.
Yeah, but it's an art to overreach without overtraining, and that overreaching is sometimes really important to get in top shape. And maybe a human coach can help with it. I don't know, because when I'm doing the same, I'm training myself, and when I feel like I'm tired, then I do more zone 2, zone 1 trainings. I say, okay, I'm gonna do the intervals another day. But maybe with a coach, you will still do it, and then maybe you will get better results. I think it's difficult. Yeah.
Well, maybe it's like in life. Like, okay, sometimes you need to run into a wall to know what it feels like. I think there's some benefit in overtraining and going through the experience of being overtrained and knowing, okay, this is how it feels. Kind of try to remember the build up to it, and whenever you feel the signs that are leading up to being overtrained, and okay, I need to calm down now. So I think there's some benefit in going through those bad experiences as well.
Yeah, indeed. Nothing is really bad. It's just experience. Okay, and are you cycling as well right now? So you're preparing for how is it called? The Grand Alsacien?
Grand Trail Alsace,
something like that.
UTMB Alsace Grand Est or something. I'm going to cycle a lot as well because I want to do some triathlons as well. The Alpe d'Huez triathlon I want to do next year. That's in July, so that's only a month and a half after that. So I'll do some swimming as well. Try to combine everything and try to focus as much as possible on the running. But we have from Friday evening till Sunday morning to finish the event. So worst case, I have to walk a lot, but as long as I don't have any injuries or blisters or blisters that are keeping me from running or walking, and I think I'll be able to finish the event. So it's like with all events that I participate in, it's not my aim to be at my best possible. It's just good enough is okay.
Because it's a really hard one. It's a tough one.
Yeah. It's
100 miles. How
we
many
got
meters of elevation?
we got an email this week. They finalized the parcours. It's 145 kilometers with I think just under 6,000 altitude meters. So, and it's really running upstairs, doing the surrounds of a castle, running downstairs again through vineyards.
It will be beautiful. It will be beautiful. Yeah, it's so hard.
You run from Colmar to Strasbourg, I think.
Yeah, just under Strasbourg, Aubernais.
I went there last year. It's a really nice region.
Yeah,
I really love it. It's quite hilly indeed.
Yeah. It's the Vosges regions, so it's not flat, but yeah. And again, this was really not my first choice. It was after the Dodentocht that a mate texted me, so cool, I want to run the Dodentocht as well. You want to do it together next year? I was like, no, I don't want to do it. If somebody wants to run 100k, the Dodentocht is really known in Belgium, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's not a running event. Aid stations are not tailored to runners. So I said to him, no, I don't want to do it. It was shortly after, so I was kind of fed up again with the long distance thing. So I was like, I've done the 100k. If anything, I want to do 100 miler, and okay, let's do it. Okay. Are you free in the next couple of weeks? We'll sit together and find an event. I was like, okay.
Okay.
Now I said that I want to do it. But I'm still curious as well to know if I will be able to do it. And
do you have to pay a crate of duvel then you don't arrive?
No. No, I finished doing that. No more bets.
I think for you it's something really important is the adventurous parts of all these events, like the Alsacien you will run. It looked very adventurous to me. Then the trail you did, the North Trail here in the north of France. Scotland.
I really like just being outside and I struggled a bit the last couple of years with a lot of obligations, and I felt like there's a lot of things that we have to do, and I really struggled with that. And whenever I'm away with my bike and my tent, I feel it's so liberating. I try to switch off my phone as much as possible, just riding and the events that I do by myself, or the not the events. I never done a bikepacking event, but just the
journeys.
The journeys that I do. I really I don't like having fixed itineraries. Just I start and if day one I feel like riding 10k, I ride only 10k. If I feel like riding 100k, I ride one. It's just whatever I feel like doing. And if I see if I see a nice spot to put my tent, why would I ride another 20k to be in the center of a village when I can be on a hill with a crazy view and so liberating to not have a deadline, not having to do something, and that's also why I usually prefer doing it alone. Can be lonesome sometimes to do it alone. I've done it a couple of times with a friend, and I enjoy the company. It's good to be out with a friend, and it's fun. We have good times, but you still have you need to if I have a bad moment and he feels really strong, it's stupid for him to stop if I don't want to ride anymore, and the other way around. So you still need to take into account what the other person wants, and it's kind of in my nature to usually prefer to do the things that the other one wants, or assume, okay, he probably wants to do that, so we'll do that. So I don't have to take into account that part if I'm just by myself. And when I cycled the Vlaanderen route, I think it was 9 days that I was away, and okay, I was alone, but there were really not a lot of moments where I felt alone. If I felt alone, it was in summer. I went to a pub. I sat on the terrace, and I think within 5 minutes, somebody looked at my bike and asked, "What are you doing?" And you start talking, and I met some really nice folks on that event. Yeah, it was one moment. I was riding. I started at Ostend in the morning. I wanted to ride further than Ghent, and I passed Ghent, and it was the route was along the Schelde. I think it was Wichelen ter Ede, or just past Ghent, and it was kind of getting dark, so I started going to small side street to see if there's some place where I can put up my tent. And I rode into one road, and I saw a good place. But when I entered the road, I saw in the beginning there was like a piece of land with a pond, and there was a bungalow and a caravan, and I saw people there. I was like, okay, I'm not going to put up my tent here because maybe they'll call the police, and I have to. So I'll just go and ask those people if I can put up my tent there, just to be sure that they don't call the police. They said, that part is, I don't know who owns that piece of land, but the land next to that's from my brother. He won't mind, put your tent there, not an issue. I take my bike, I go to that place, and then I see the son-in-law running towards me. Hey, we were talking, you seem like a nice guy. We're starting a barbecue. You want to join us? And we just, the shed that you're seeing, we just built it. It's empty inside. It's going to rain tonight. Maybe you can sleep in the shed. And I was like, okay. So I had a really fun night with those, was an older couple with their daughter and the son-in-law. We had barbecue, we had some drinks, and
Cool.
it was so amazing. And that's what I like about being solo as well. If you do that with a mate, the chances that somebody will invite two people, I think it's so slim. And if you're by yourself, I think chances are a lot bigger that you will be, even in a pub, you will be spoken to, because if you're already talking to somebody, nobody wants to bother you when you're already talking. And if you're by yourself, people will start chatting.
It's true. You did it also. You went also on a bikepacking trip through Scotland.
Yeah.
How was that?
That was really beautiful, but really tough as well. It's a famous route called the North Coast 500, but it's a little bit an alternative. People that follow GCN will have seen that Mark Beaumont did the North Coast 500, and there's like some he avoids because it's a famous route that people do with campers. He avoids some really busy parts by doing some detours, but it's about 500 miles, and it starts in Inverness. So we took the boat, which was really expensive. It was like, I think it was 900 euros for two. The boat from Holland to Newcastle, and then we drove up to Inverness to start there, and we started off in fairly good weather. We knew Scotland. We were it was June, beginning of June, I think. We knew it wasn't going to be really beautiful weather because it's still Scotland. But we didn't think it was going to be that bad. The first couple of days it was just cloudy, we had some rain, but not too much. It was a little bit windy. And then I think it was the third day that it was starting to rain a lot more and getting a lot more windy. And then it became, stormy. I think the fourth day, we rode all day in the rain. We were soaking wet. We were in a part that was really, there was not a lot of villages. The villages that we encountered had like 10 houses, and then we tried ringing the houses asking, hey, do you have a shed or a garage where we can sleep? Because if we knew that if we were going to put up our tent, soaking wet clothes in the morning, we'll have to put on our soaking wet clothes again. It won't be fun. It was cold as well. It was really windy with 5 before wind and wind gusts to 7 before, so it was kind of dangerous as well. It was. We were lucky. I think it was already 8 in the evening, starting to get dark. We found a couple that allowed us to stay in the garage, we were able to hang our clothes, get dry, had a really good night's sleep, and then in that garage we decided, okay, we looked at the forecast. It was going to be the same weather for the next 2 or 3 days, so we said, okay, we're not going to risk it. We knew that we had to ride against the wind still for a day and a half, so we knew it was going to be so tough. My mate was also getting really tired because of the wind. It's really hilly there as well. We have parts just going up and down all the time. We had parts. I even have a picture of a sign with a 25% climb.
Wow.
So riding up that with heavy gear, it's not fun. So we decided in that garage, let's just call it a day. I think if we drive back to the car, we still have 2 days that we have to do, and then we'll take the car. And last 2 or 3 days, we drove around with the car. But the fun thing was driving back to the car was with the 5 before winds in the back, and it was so fun.
Maybe we just had to do
The other way around.
The other way around.
Yeah, maybe. But then there was in the beginning there was a climb to the highest point of Scotland. I think it's called Bialachnaba. It's a really beautiful climb, with a really, really tough climbing. Yeah, but, it was so amazing. I want to go back to Scotland.
Yeah.
I think to go running or to go. Cycling, I don't know. Maybe do some trails there. It was so amazing.
Yeah. I never rode in the UK, but I want to do also a ride in the UK, because you hear it from a lot of people. Everyone who goes to the UK says the same. It's a very beautiful, country and island, let's say.
If you want to ride in the UK, the event that I did or beginning of this year, riding to the Stelvio, that was also a charity event. And next year they're going to ride from London to Ypres. So if you want to join, I'll give you the link and I'll give you the details. I think they were planning on doing the west coast and then go to Dover. And take the boat to Calais, and then the last day will be from Calais to Ypres.
Yeah, because last week I had an idea, because I also like football, and especially the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother is a big Tottenham Hotspur fan, so in London, and I'm a big Manchester United fan. So I had the idea, okay, let's go together by bike from Heerhugowaard to London.
Yeah,
stay there, and then visit the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and then go upwards towards Manchester.
Yeah.
So it's a future plan.
Sounds nice.
Yeah. And we looked. I already made the first parkour, and it looks really nice.
Yeah.
maybe.
Do you also like making the routes and already thinking about the event?
Yeah.
Sometimes that's like half of the experience,
Yeah.
just planning the route and getting excited about it.
Yeah, indeed, and looking, okay, if I take that way, I'm faster, or
Yeah.
maybe that way it's more safer.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that.
Yeah.
That was something cool about the long race home, that you can make your own parkour.
Yeah.
You can think about, will I go through Aachen or next to it, because it will be faster.
Yeah, it's a really cool event.
Yeah.
Pity that they're going to have the last edition next year. But,
I think some other guys wanted to take over the organization, I think. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Just participate in our ultra ride.
Oh yeah. You said that you were going to create your own event. Is it?
We're gonna try,
Yeah.
indeed.
Today we had a meeting with
Town hall.
Yeah, to look for a date.
Mm-hmm. And it
talk about something.
Going to be a one-day event, multiple-day event, or
we're gonna start with the one-day event, like a 300 plus ride, 350 kilometer ride. From here, from Heerlen to the Opaalkust. So Cap Blonnet, Cap Grinet. It's a really nice and beautiful region.
Yeah.
It's quite hilly as well. And then come back towards here. So you have the famous mountains of Gent-Wevelgem, famous hills of Gent-Wevelgem. But also the Tour de France will go to the northern part of France next year. So there will be some tourists, I think, as well.
And you're planning on doing it the same period as the Tour de France, or?
No, August, September, the end of August, beginning of September. Depending on what is possible here in the town. But yeah, it's an idea, and we'll see how it goes.
Sounds like fun. Keep me updated.
Of course,
sounds interesting.
Yeah, and if it's okay, then maybe the years after we'll do also a longer event, like 700 kilometers. The plan was, in the northern part of France, they spoke Dutch over there in the Middle Ages. So we want to rediscover the Dutch parts, Dutch-speaking parts of France, which goes quite far actually. It goes to Berck, to
If you ride around the north of France, then you find a lot of villages that have like really Flemish names.
Yeah, indeed. And also some castle-like villages with a lot of pavements, and it's really beautiful. And we don't go there quite often.
We always ride in Flemish region, but last summer I did also a ride. It was 250 k's towards Dunkirk, and it was so beautiful. It was just the other side of the border, but in France region, and it was so beautiful, so much nicer than here in Flanders.
And I just made a parcours of 350 kilometers and almost 4,000 altitude meters, so it's climbing.
And it's not like the climbs that you have here in the Flemish Ardennes. It's not really short and steep. It's like sometimes climbs that you don't feel like you're climbing, and you gain altitude meters without having to do a lot of effort. And it's beautiful. I've done some great training rides there as well in the north of France. It's beautiful, and partly also because that's also something that really motivates me, like the digital things. There's a website called stadshunters.com where you I think it's only Belgium and Holland that is divided up in squares of 100 meters by 100 meters, and you have to ride in every square, and you see a map of where you've been, and that has also triggered me to go to places that I haven't been before, because I want to tick off the squares there, and you have badges of
tiles,
and badges there of like every doing a 200k ride in each of the months of the year, and some distances riding 2 countries, 3 countries, 4 countries in one ride, those kind of badges, and those also help to spice up the training, to think about, okay, I have to do 100k training, but to make it interesting, I'm gonna take my car and ride.
Yeah, indeed.
I ride a bit and then go to a region that I haven't been before, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of beautiful regions that I haven't discovered yet.
I've heard there are some illegal dives to take.
And probably military things and
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe when they have an open day, you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
take your bike.
Yeah.
So I think it's a nice point to reach the end of the podcast. Do you still have a message you want to share? What is important for you that our listeners knows?
Oh. Yeah, just maybe if you try to, if you want to go far into sports and want to do a lot of sports, do whatever you like and don't think a lot about what other people say, what others say about what you're doing. Just do it for yourself and enjoy what you like, and yeah, something like that.
Perfect. Just be happy.
Yeah.
With sport.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful point to end this episode. Andy, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Jelle, thank you for the questions and hosting this podcast. And to our listeners, you can follow us on Instagram and Spotify and YouTube. And see you next time. Bye bye.